All right. So speaking of being upside down, downside up,
Uh-oh.
we've got interest rate policies to talk about. We've got Brazil hiking rates.
Oh,
Did I see a cut yesterday in Sweden, I think?
ah.
They lowered rates. But here we are in the US, kind of in the middle of the pack here. Um, who knows? Who knows what the Fed's going to do? Randy, do you have any thoughts on that?
What the Fed did do.
Well, what they did do or didn't do?
Yeah, they didn't do. They
Yeah.
they do do. Yeah. So yeah, I've put out quite a bit of information on this over the last few days, sir, and maybe you have an opinion. I bet you do. My opinion was that the Fed said that they're 100%, basically, they have their normal thing, right? They got to look at where the jobs are right now. And they said the jobs look fine. They got to look at the inflation. They said, hey, inflation's great. In fact, it's the last 3 months, it's way below their goal. In the last 6 months, it's below their goal. It's only over the last year that it's higher than their goal. So everything about inflation would suggest they need to cut. Then they said that really the only thing that kept them from cutting was uncertainty about tariffs.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, uncertainty about tariffs. Well, then they said in this analysis that they were going to give their expectation is that tariffs will add 0.6% to inflation over the next 3 quarters. So they were looking at 2.5, now they're looking at 3.1. All right. Now that 0.6%, you and I have talked about, I think before, it's very close to my number of 0.8 as the maximum.
Yeah.
I've been talking about for, I don't know, 6 months. I think that my number 0.8 could be double what it will actually turn out to be. So my low number is 0.4, so that's right in the middle. So they're worried about a 0.6% inflation, and that's what's keeping them from cutting the rate to the what's known as the real rate, or what should be the true rate, which would be 3.3 right now. So they say they're restrictive. They're restrictive by a full 100 basis points based on their expectation that maybe tariffs are going to go up this much. And then they acknowledge that this would be transitory, that it's very unlikely to have a long-term impact. It would just be a one-time price increase. So Cern, to me, that doesn't sound like enough of a reason not to cut. That sounds to me like a reason to cut. If you have inflation low, jobs solid, that would be a great time to go to normal as opposed to restrictive.
It certainly seems that way. It sounds like they might have been in a rush to get started on their summifications. Uh, and
I
kind
of
of
course,
punted.
I of course, I of course asserted that it was political, that they're
Well,
just trying to undermine the
yeah.
president.
Now, is the Fed still allowed to use the word transitory, or has that been stricken from their permitted
He
words?
he actually never used the word transitory. He did
Yeah.
use 15 other words or phrases in order to not use transitory.
Yeah, I don't think he's allowed to use that word anymore.
But CERN, here was the other side of that. Here was the flip side of that, which is crazy. I called the Fed a bunch of boomers because as old people, like me, they're looking at tariffs as the thing that's making the decision for them.
Yeah.
But he specifically said in the conference afterwards, in the call with the press, he said, we do not have an opinion on how AI is going to impact the jobs market or the inflation situation. In other words, it had no impact on their decision whether to raise or lower rates right now, even though the top 7 companies in the world and in the United States are all in the AI business. And many of the top leaders are saying that it's going to dramatically impact jobs and it's going to dramatically impact inflation because of productivity increases. And yet they said this has nothing to do. They acknowledged what I just said, or were true. But then they said, it sounded like they don't even have a committee of 3 out of their 400 PhDs, or, a group that's been put together to analyze this, which seems to me to be a protracted issue, as something that's going to impact the economy for months, years, quarters, and years into the future. And yet tariffs, which they said is not expected to be long-term, is causing them to make a decision. Does that sound balanced to you?
Oh, perfectly, Randy. It's perfectly balanced. They're worried about the kid with the water gun squirting a little bit of water and ignoring the tsunami of deflation that's coming behind, right? And the ocean behind the kid. The water is the little bit of inflation today.
Right.
Yeah, this is problematic if they're not on top of this, because this probably is the biggest thing that they need to focus on. And if it is in fact correct that they don't have any of their 400 PhD economists evaluating any of this stuff, then that is deeply problematic. I hope that's not the case. I hope that they are squarely focused on this. They really need to be. We also need politicians thinking about this as well.
No kidding.
Right? So, yeah, this worries me a lot, because it sounds like the Fed is they're always kind of behind the 8 ball. Things are moving away from them. They're always trying to play catch up. And of course, that's not ideal. Now, I would say that this is a complicated thing, but it's not so complicated to imagine that we're going to have massive deflation coming.
Right.
Right? And you might want to have your economy on the soundest footing you possibly could before that deflationary wave happens. Yeah, this is definitely worrisome.
Yeah, I was again, I called them boomer because I hate to denigrate us boomers, because I think we're pretty technologically astute compared to previous generations. But the thought that these old Fed chairs and presidents, most of whom are probably boomers, that this is not on their list.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I spend at least 5 hours a week listening to podcasts from the all-in guys, from the B2G guys, and 𝐒𝐚𝐿 and others, who are talking about nothing but practically their whole channels are devoted to how is AI impacting businesses, jobs, what do the future jobs look like, what jobs shouldn't you be going into, what jobs maybe should you be looking to go into, and the potential for a boom in the world economy, unlike nothing we've ever seen in history.
I'd be curious about how much time that the various Fed officials have spent educating themselves and thinking about this.
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to the traditional things that they've been focused on.
Yeah.
That would be very telling.
If you happen to be a big fan of the Cybertruck, you might also be interested in this super fun Cybertruck refrigerator magnet and bottle opener. It is made out of super thick stainless steel, just like the Cybertruck, and it has this giant magnet on the back, so it's going to hold a lot of stuff on your refrigerator. It's an amazing gift, and it comes in that great gift box that you saw before, that uses a magnet opener, just almost like an Apple box, like when you get Apple products. You can buy it on Amazon for $29.95, or you can buy it direct from me by sending $25 to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. Please indicate whether you want the stainless steel look, or maybe you'd like to have this very clever camo version. And then if you're not in the US, please add $20 for freight. If you'd like more than one, please check the information below to get pricing, as well as all that information I just told you will be repeated in the information below. So once again, think about joining the channel, getting the up-to-date Tesla news every single day. I think you'll be glad you did.